Coach, your thoughts on the game?
Well, I think, offensively we started out pretty sloppy and gave them, numerous opportunities when we were playing pretty well on defense. And then we started giving them too many opportunities, and then things started to flip, and then, losing our quarterback. And then Miles Turpin is the guy who takes reps there to be our second guy. And he had an injury that was just allowing him to play a little bit of defense. He ran the ball one time, and I could tell he was hurt. So, we were down to Jordy, and we just pretty much went on the fly. He's never played quarterback, so we just stuck him in there and had him do what he could. So then when the game got towards the end, we really didn't have a passing game or anything to be able to go up tempo or anything like that to be able to effectively move the ball. So we were running out of time because the run game wasn't going to do it there at the end. So we didn't even have pass plays. We were making them up as we went. So pretty tough on us offensively there at the end. But I thought of all the games I've coached, that was the best performance by any team that I've had. And I know it's a loss, but the second half was a performance that I'll always remember.
Coach, speak to just the performance of Naeem today. He had the 2 takeaways, the score that put you in front there, and just his dazzling catches in the second half. I mean, that was as good a performance, I think, in a losing cause that I've seen an individual have in a while. How about you?
Right, and he hasn't been offered yet, or hasn't committed yet, and he's a player. He always does the right thing. He practices hard. He does everything the right way, and it's good in a game like this. You can go to somebody like that, and he can make the play. So, we were down to just, if Jordy goes to quarterback, we don't really have a go-to receiver. We don't have any more receivers, so we just said throw the ball to him. That's all we had left, and a little bit of run game with Troy, and that was pretty much it.
Naeem, speak about what's going through your mindset. You guys are down 20, almost 30 points. Was this kind of a microcosm of the season? You guys were written off at 1-4, but you kept battling. What's going through your mind as you were able to make some of the plays to keep your team afloat?
Honestly, the game is never over till the clock hits 0, so we just got to keep pushing through no matter what. And no matter how many people are injured, we're going to battle with who we have left. So, and that's one thing I love from my guys. They're going to always battle, especially this one right here. He's a dog, like the biggest dog I've probably ever seen in my life. He's going to put himself in the hardest position possible just to make sure the team is successful. So that's really what I have to say.
Coach, for your team to score 24 points, especially given the circumstances that you guys had to go through in the second half, what does that say to the grit of this team to be able to score with this really good team that you're going against, especially under the conditions that you guys were faced with in the second half?
I think for the most part, I've been complaining to them about we got to change the culture, and I think they changed it. Your culture brings you back. You're in a situation like that. What are you playing for? You're playing for your brother next to you, and that's all they did. They didn't worry about the game or the score. They just started playing for each other. And I thought the offensive line did a tremendous job. I thought we played good up front. I thought we were doing some great things on defense. We just started fixing a few things, and they hung in there. So I think that speaks to our culture, where we're at, and we had to turn things around because our culture was not good early on in the season. But I think because of these guys, it got turned around.
Yeah, and if you think back to earlier in the season, do you think your team at the beginning of this season would be able to pull off a performance like you did, especially in the second half today?
Well, I think early on you start pointing fingers. What's wrong? What's wrong? It's not what's wrong. It's just we got to play harder. And I think they got to a point where they just said we got to play harder, and that's the difference. And people always, when you don't do well, they want to point fingers. Nobody was pointing fingers in the locker room. Everybody was just saying we've got to play and bring pride back to the program, and that's what they did. They played on pride and played for each other. So, and that takes time because guys got to learn to lean on each other and all that. So that camaraderie takes time, and we didn't have time to build that before those first games. We've had time since then to build that, and that's why we had the performance we had in the second half.
Yeah, and Troy, where do you think, I guess, this team has, as a leader of this team, where do you think you guys have grown the most from the beginning of the season to now, where you guys put up a heck of a performance tonight in the state title game?
I'd say everyone on the team started to trust each other more because, as Coach said in the beginning, our culture was not very good. But as the season went on, everyone just started to, trust each other. In the games, we know everyone is going to do the best they can to do their job. So that's what happened out there. We trusted, I trusted the O-line that they're going to block for me so I can get some yards. And I trusted him at quarterback, even though he's never played. So, do the thing. And obviously Naeem we all trust Naeem. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and you know, for you to be put in that spot, you know, what was going through your mind where you're now in a position that you haven't really played before, in a stage like this, the biggest stage that you can be at in a high school football game at this level. So, you know, what was going through your mind, and then, you know, how do you think it turned out for you, you know, being able to do what you did in the second half today?
You know, a lot was going through my mind. I'm not gonna lie, but I just try to slow the game down, play it play by play, trust my brothers. If I'm handing the ball off, hand the ball off. If I'm running the ball, run the ball. If I'm throwing it to him, follow the game plan and just put my best foot forward, try to leave it on the field.
Free.
Coach, just the fight back that you guys were just talking about a few minutes ago. You schedule these other teams so that you have that competition earlier in the season, the Wises, the QOs, the Martinsburg, so that these guys know how to play that top level competition and come back like they did. Is that the reason you do what you do with that schedule?
Yes, I mean, that's part of why we did that, you know. But the flip side of that is guys don't learn how to depend on each other. So your culture takes a little bit of a hit, and I wasn't ready for that. You know, our guys, instead of building that camaraderie and that trust, they didn't have time to build that. They got thrown in the fire right away. And we took a hit there for a while. To build that back took some time. So that's what I'm most proud of. It got built back, and that's, you know, I'm walking away going, the culture's back. And so I'm appreciative of these guys for doing that.
The fight that you guys showed at the end too, to be still back into the game when a lot of people thought it may be over. Just talk about what that means as well.
Well, I mean, that's exactly. I mean, we were playing to the last whistle, you know, and that's all you can ask from guys is to, you know, play the last whistle.
You see them make some changes on defense too. I know they were just scoring, it seemed like at will. And then you guys, what did you see that you think you could be able to help stop their offense?
Well, I think the biggest thing, you know, our defensive staff are tremendous, but I think the big thing is once you get some hope and you see the offense start moving the ball, you play with a little bit more energy, and you know, there's that adrenaline now, and so things, you make plays that you normally wouldn't make. And so once we started scoring a few points, then it was like maybe, and so the energy level went up, and I think a lot of that was we just were a little more in tune with what we were doing and played a little bit better. I mean, I don't think it's a huge adjustment situation, it just we played a little bit better.
Anything else for the guys?
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.